Every minute, the amount of one full garbage truck of plastic trash is dumped into the sea, causing 8 billion kilograms of plastic pollution per year. Plastics account for twice as much greenhouse gas emissions as airplanes. If it were a country, the plastic kingdom would be the 5th highest polluter in the world. So, to secure a sustainable future, we really have to reduce, reuse, recycle or compost our plastics. One initiative that is making an impact is the Biocup. The Biocup is the first festival cup that is made of biodegradable and reusable plastic. In this documentary, we follow a journey through our northern regions to explore how a small cup can contribute to a big change. The first person we visit is Eileen Blackmore, the initiator of the Biocup. Eileen is owner of House of Design, a sustainable design platform that connects designers, entrepreneurs, policymakers, educators and researchers for sustainable innovation.
Eileen, you have your own company, House of Design, and you initiated this beautiful project about a biocup made out of bioplastics.
Yeah, that's right.
How did you come up with this idea?
I was involved with the cultural capital of the European Capital of Culture, Leeuwarden, in 2018. And before that, of course, a lot of things have to be prepared. And I was asked to be part of the ecological part, to see how we can make the festivals more sustainable. We were looking at how can we link the cultural capital budget to a budget to set up this complete project about a product. And we heard that the province of Fryslân was in the development of a European project to see how we can even do it European-wise. And so we came in contact with Denmark, who was, Aarhus was the cultural capital in 2017. So we thought, hey, how could we team up with this idea? And this was also a way to set up the funding. So there was a budget that was able to start this complete project.
To make the idea of a biodegradable and reusable festival cup happen in Friesland, Eileen works with a local value chain. A chain of different local activities that involve all kinds of stakeholders that contribute to the production and realization of this biocup.
Who's the first one in the chain to approach for you?
For me, was the first one is a producer who wants to be the owner of the product. So that's how I came to limb recycling, because some people were telling about limb recycling, about what they're doing, and also the province of Fryslân spoke about them, and so I had a talk with them to see if they would like to be partner in this, and they were very enthusiastic. So, but then you have this real owner, like, I want to be the owner of this product, and I want to be the business person, because the others are more the facilitating people, and they are really the company who will get it going. So that was really good. And then we had a talk with limb recycling.
Limb Recycling is a company that delivers coffee cups in a circular way by recycling and reusing all of their cups. I'm taking the train to the southeast of Friesland, Oosterwolde, to speak to them.
Behind me is Limb Recycling, and they took ownership and they were very enthusiastic about developing this festival cup made out of bioplastics.
We've done this for almost 10 years, and our expertise was noticed by the province of Fryslân. We also worked with them together, and they asked us, or they invited us to take part of the Interreg BIOCAS program.
Is it difficult to produce this new product?
Well, it's not difficult because you just have to do it, and that's what we do, but it's expensive. So we are a company, and we have to make the money first before we can spend it, of course. So yes, the province of Fryslân and the BIOCAS project helps us with getting us the right kind of investments, and also setting up contacts with possible clients or possible contacts.
Research institutes.
Yeah. Research institutes, indeed, yeah, and they can help us with the whole project of the Biocup. Yes. Yeah. It's very different from making the cups that we make now, because it's a bioplastic, but it's also the material, the way the material is made. Normal oil-based materials are just made from oil, like it said, but this is made from organic material or whatever. So the production process, but also the recycling process, is way different from what we do now. Yeah.
And what are the big differences?
The differences is the time-consuming production. So we can mass produce our production now, our products, but making the biocups is a very delicate and time-consuming process, and which makes it not really suitable for mass production. I have the first prototype of our cup. I have it here with me, so you can test it, and you can tell us what you think about it.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm going to try it out, and thank you very much.
Thank you too.
I'm not the first to try out the new cup. My journey continues to the Fryslân Design Factory of NHL Stenden University in Leeuwarden. Their expertise is in prototype testing, and together with limb recycling, they look at the use and design of the cup by testing it at festivals.
We provided 1,200 cups to the festival in the backstage catering area. We tested actually on the volunteers of the festival itself, who are also drinking beer, of course, and other beverages. We also looked at people, how they reacted without telling anything on the cup, like, hey, what is this? This looks different than what I'm used to. And once they actually got the cup and had a beverage in it, I just approached the people, did some qualitative questions, like, what's your opinion about the feel, about the look, what would be your design flaws in your mind?
So what kind of feedback did people have?
From the top of my head, let's start with the negative. People didn't like it wasn't transparent.
Oh yeah.
So you can't see through the cup. People like to see that their beer is still in there. And some people also thought that because it wasn't transparent, it looked a little bit like a children's cup. You know, the one you drink milk from the IKEA or something. And they didn't like that in combination with drinking beer. It felt odd.
Unnatural.
Yes, exactly. For the rest, they did like the natural feel of it. It has a little bit of a, well, you can't show that on camera, of course, but it has a little bit of a, grip, actually. And they did like that, and they liked it already looks sustainable. It looks like it's made from reused materials, just as the cardboard products and stuff. You know, you can see this, this wasn't made from a lot of paint or something.
So they recognized that it was
bio-based. Exactly, yeah. A positive result we didn't expect was that the beer stayed quite a longer time cool in this cup. That was actually one I didn't expect, like, this is actually a cup that keeps your beer cooler for a longer time. So that was a really good result.
How about the behavior of the festival audience and the backstage audience on the reuse of the cup? Because that's of course a purpose of this design. How did it go?
A lot of people immediately, also from the looks, say, this is sustainable, I have to keep this, it's hard. So you think, this isn't meant to be thrown away. But the looks gave it almost a cardboard kind of feel, and that's why some people on accident did throw it away, because they thought, this is not a reusable cup. Of course, once you pick it up, you'll notice that. But if you have had a few beers and your table is a few cups on there, and you just, without thinking, throw it away, that would be a waste, of course.
Timo, I spoke to Abel, and Abel explained to me that you tested the first prototype at Welcome to the Village Festival with interviews and backstage. What did you do with the feedback?
So with the feedback, we wanted to create another cup So this was our first prototype, and we already knew that it wasn't our end product. So we made this with a 3D molding appliance, and we looked at what can be different. The size is not good, so we made it smaller. We added an edge for foam, so you can, when you tap the beer, you have 2 fingers of foam, what's normal in a cup, so you can add it now as well. And also the cup was not stackable. If there was water in it and you would stack it on each other, it would get vacuum, it would suck in each other. So we made extra point within the glass, so you can stack it. So if you stack it now, you can just move it around and you can take it off each other. So that is what we did with the feedback.
Besides testing the user experience of the Biocup, it's also very important to evaluate the environmental impact. Van der Larenstein Institute's Associate Professor Jerke de Vries and Junior Researcher Anne-Rens de Wolf bring in new knowledge to the local collaboration.
I brought the Biocup. Can you explain me something about the material that we see here?
Sure. The material of this cup is PHA, which stands for polyhydroxyalkanoates, which is a difficult name, let's say, for bioplastic. It's a type of bioplastic. And the typical thing of this bioplastic is it's biodegradable in the environment, but it's also made from sugar. And this sugar comes from crops. And it's converted by bacteria to the polymer, which is PHA. And then from this bacterial process, you can derive the polymer to produce a cup.
That's interesting. So the bacteria are eating
Right.
the crops,
The sugars in the crops, yeah.
and then produce this material
Right.
in a way that you can distract from it. What material, what kind of crops is this cup made of?
So the material is probably made from corn or cassava, which is currently produced in China.
China?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not really content with that it's from China, but we also see it as an opportunity. The material, it is here in Europe, also in Holland, but there's too little of it, and all the companies who use it now or make it, keep it for themselves. So we had to get it out of China, then we can make a cup out of it, and so we can test it here, and we want to show that it can be done differently, and we hope that companies in Europe can take an inspiration from it and also bring the production of PHA to Europe. So the material has been around for already about 12 years, and it has been used for like foils, etc. But it has never been used for making cups. No. And we want to show that if we can do it in Europe here as well. We don't have to go to Asia to get our products or make our cups. We can just do it in Europe. So we want to show that we can do it differently. We want to create a market, and then we want to see that other companies can create the biomaterials here.
That's nice. To inspire other people.
Yes, and companies, of course, because we need the companies. Yeah.
Of course. I live in Groningen, and we have a lot of sugar beet production in Groningen. Would it be possible to make a cup out of sugar beets from Groningen?
Yeah, as long as you have some kind of source of sugar, which the bacteria can feed on, then you could make PHA from it. Yeah. We have farmers, we have sugar beets, but you must understand that the sugar that you have, you already use for some purpose. You, of course, have to think about the competition, that you will not compete too much with the normal use of sugar.
Jerke and Anne-Rens are assessing the environmental impact of the whole life cycle of the Biocup. From production of the sugar crops, to the use of the cup, and also what happens after its usage.
The production of this cup, is this more sustainable than regular plastics?
If you look at climate change, they generally score a lower impact compared to fossil resources, and that acidification is pretty good. But land, it does need land to be produced, so this is generally higher compared to fossil resources. Now, if you have an abundance of land, that doesn't have to be a problem. But if you don't have that, then you might want to do it differently. The reuse of the cup on, for example, a festival is very important. So how often is the cup being used? Is it 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. If you compare it to single-use plastics, you need a new cup every time. Yeah. So this is also a very critical assumption for your assessment.
Not all food crops are scoring equally good at the categories we assessed. For example, cassava scores higher on climate change than other sources. Mm-hmm. And another thing what really stood out is that if you use rest stream or waste stream, in this case, you see that it scores way lower than the use of food crops.
So it means that it's the best, actually.
Yeah, compared to relative to the food crops, but also to fossil sources in most cases, because it doesn't compete with any other food crops, or it doesn't need land to be produced.
Because it's there.
Because it's there already.
Importing plastic from China produces a lot of CO2. I'm heading back to Aline to find out what possibilities she sees to produce plastic locally.
Aline, we spoke to most of the stakeholders that you introduced us to, and they explained to us that there are still some challenges considering the Biocup. For example, that it's not produced locally yet, the material of this plastic. How do you solve these kind of challenges?
It would be really nice to have the resources local. So we have to increase the demand of companies who would like to use the material also for other purposes. So this is one of the first steps we have to do.
And how do you do that?
There will be 2 important steps. One is to have this talk with different stakeholders to see that we can have more products made out of this material, and also to see if we can have farmers working with sugar beets or other material, other resources that we can use to make this bioplastic from. Yeah. So I know a farmer. He's called Peter, and I think he would be very interesting to see if we can use his sugar beets for this. That would be great.
Maybe we can speak to him as well.
Yeah, you should.
For the upscaling, who would you advise us to speak to know more about that?
We need some scientific figures for that, so we can have a kind of example to show people. And I think you could ask Rudy Volkersma. He's from NHL Stenden, and he's into biopolymers, and he can explain very well in what you need to upscale, how much you need, so we have enough resources to do this. And also he can explain perfectly how bioplastics are being made with things like fatty acids, and that's not my cup of tea, but he can explain perfectly.
To learn more about what is needed to produce biodegradable plastics in the Netherlands and how we can stimulate the production, I'm traveling to Rudy Volkersma, Professor Sustainable Polymers and Circular Plastics at NHL Stenden University in Emmen.
I've read in an article about you that you consider plastic as a beautiful product.
Yes.
Can you explain why?
Yes, because it's made out of long molecules. And so when you look through a microscope, you actually see a plate of spaghetti. And because of these long molecules, plastics have special properties. They are strong, they are light, also cheap, and you can make all kinds of products out of it. A cup, or a bag, or building material like here. So you can use it for many applications. That makes it a wonderful material.
What are the developments in the Netherlands of producing PHE?
In the Netherlands, we are focusing on research on PHAs. There are some steps in the production process which has to be improved, optimized, because this material is 4-5 times more expensive than normal oil-based plastic.
And what makes it so expensive to?
Actually, to get these PHAs out of the bellies of the bacteria.
Okay.
That's, yes, time-consuming. You need a lot of organic solutes. It's not so sustainable. So we have to find other ways to get it out of the bacteria, the microorganisms.
So besides research, what do we need in the Netherlands to stimulate the bioplastic production?
Well, politics, for instance, can do a lot. They already have a tax for plastic bags. Mm-hmm. And in a few months' time, the use of bags was decreased 40%. Politics can say, okay, we introduce a CO2 tax. Then these materials become relatively more cheap, and the oil-based more expensive. Then it's more balanced, and then I think the production of biopolymers will get a boost.
And when the PHA production will get a boost, we are going to need local resources. Aline introduced me to Pieter Sikkema, a farmer who lives at the countryside of Groningen. With him, I discussed the idea of using his crops for the production of plastics.
You need sugar?
We need sugar.
Well, look around you. There's a lot of sugar here.
Fantastic.
You're standing in a field of sugar beet.
Yeah.
And well, this beet contains hopefully about 17% sugar.
And how would you feel for it if your beets would be used for cups?
It's fine for me. I think in the future we have to go that way. We are on the beginning still. And in the next future, in the decades, there will be a lot of changes in use of our products and the way of produce cups or whatever kind of thing. You can take about 90% of the sugar out of the sugar beet, and the rest of the 10% remains in the pulp. I don't know if it's efficient to get this last bit of sugar out of this pulp, or you can have these bacteria eating the pulp to get it out. I don't know, but there's always a little bit left in the rest stream of the sugar beet.
I have some numbers. How much sugar is needed to produce plastics?
Yeah.
And you know exactly how much sugar is inside the beet and inside of the rest streams.
Yeah.
Maybe we could make some calculations on that. What would be possible?
Okay. Do it on paper in a warm kitchen.
Yeah, let's do that. Okay.
Let's go.
Sweet. I spoke to the researchers from Van Hal-Larenstein Institute, and they gave me some numbers about how much sugar is needed to produce PHA.
Yeah.
So if we have the sugar beet, how many sugar beets do you grow?
Well, when you can harvest about 75 to 80,000 plants, it's okay.
Okay, 75, 80,000.
Plants,
let's go. Let's use the good year then. 80,000.
80,000, yes.
What is the percentage of sugar?
Let's say the sugar content average of about 17%. Every beet will weigh about 1 kilogram. So that means you have about 80,000 kilos of sugar beet. That means you have 80,000 kilos with 17% sugar content. Means 13,600 kilo of sugar per hectare.
Okay, and out of 3 kilogram of sugar, you can make 1 kilogram of PHA, and out of each kilogram of PHA, you can produce 20 cups.
Times 20.
Okay, and then there's also efficiency coefficient of 80%.
80%.
So very roughly, one beet.
1 cup.
1 cup.
Yeah.
That's in, yeah. And in case of the rest stream, how much sugar stays in the rest stream?
In the rest stream, let's say you can take about 90% of the sugar out of the beet, so they will stay about 10%. Let's say 10% out of from 1.5% of the 80,000. So that's about 1,200 kilos, 1,200 kilos sugar remains in the rest stream. Maybe there's a technique from these bacteria who can produce these cups. Maybe these bacteria can take this out of these rest streams. I don't know. Maybe there's a possibility maybe not. I don't know.
Oh, we can find that out.
But it might be interesting.
Yeah.
So, rest streams of sugar beets could be a possibility for the local production of PHA. But to really get there, we need all stakeholders in the local value chain to work together. We need companies, we need designers, we need consumers, we need researchers, we need politicians, we need farmers, And we need people like Aline that initiate these kinds of changes and connect all these people. To have a bigger impact with the local actions, Eileen is part of a European network. She collaborates with partner World Perfect, a sustainability agency from Aarhus and partner in the BIOCAS project.
In this project, you collaborate together with Eileen. Why is it important to do this kind of project European-wise?
I think what we have, when you have the cultural transmission of ideas and opinions, that's very, very important. And this is what we find in the BIOCAS project, that working with different partners, different countries, you get different policies and you get different insights in policies, which is very important for the European policy in the last end. So you got the top-down talk together with the bottom-up when you do look at students, so they can carry out ideas that you would like to see at a festival, for example. Mm-hmm. And this is very important to do European-wise, not only in your own localhood.
Considering plastic production and use in general, what opportunities do you see for the future?
I see a lot of opportunities. We just need some, as I said, to dare to take the new steps and to take the steps of trying to see this as opportunities of innovation. Mm-hmm. Working with sustainability is a lot about innovations, and if we dare taking steps towards these innovative products, then of course we can find solutions for tomorrow.
So, to secure a sustainable future, we need to take steps, we need to act together, connect and learn from each other. We won't finish our journey here, neither do our local stakeholders.
Looking towards the future.
Yes.
What challenges do you have?
The cup is made from organic material, so it's made from corn or sugar. At the moment from Asia, yes it is, but we can see that it can also be made from sewage sludge. The only problem is we want to use it for the testing on consumers, so for drinks. And then at the moment you cannot make it food approved, so people cannot drink from it. No. So, but in the future, we are looking into making these cups from the sewage sludge material.
Well, we had some crazy ideas in the design sessions. For example, we thought maybe the festival, in order to prevent people from throwing it away, they could have like this memory game going on, that you have your cup with something on it, and if you find the person who has the same, then you get a free beer together or something like that, or make a game out of it. Exactly. It would be nice to have, for example, the don't throw this away message going, and maybe even, hey, this is a biodegradable cup.
What can we do with this material after it is used?
My first thought would be try to recycle it. Wash it, grind it in small pieces, process it and make maybe new cups out of it or other products. But always try to get it in the loop as long as possible. If no longer possible, you can always compost it, give it back to the earth. It is converted in CO2 and water, which is needed for growing plants again, so that the cycle is also around in a biological way.
The first practical dreams, which are able to do, would be really nice that all the partner countries that we're working with the partners, that they would use this cup in their canteens or in the restaurants, because that are universities and municipalities and provinces, and that would be a very big step already. And then afterwards it would be really nice that they share the working with the cup to their partners, so we can continue the network and that it will be a standard in the end.
Yeah, so we will have a sustainable Europe in the future.
Yes, and we start with the North Sea region.
We have to keep dreaming and doing. Only this way we can solve our plastic problem and save our planet. We need local action for a global impact.